Okay, so we begin with a discussion now today from Economic Survey, and I'm discussing with you Economic Survey chapter 6 volume 1. That is what I'll begin discussing with you, the problem of regulatory effectiveness. That is what we will start talking on. Economic Survey chapter 6 volume 1, problem of regulatory effectiveness. Understand this first. See, the historical idea is that India has had a long history, since beginning almost, of lot of regulatory system coming in. Yeah, good morning all of you, Kriti, Harshita, Priyanka, all of you, good enough, good morning to all. So, regulatory effectiveness, ab aise samjho, before 1991, I hope most of you were there in the class when I was discussing it. So, before 1991, regulatory effectiveness was something which dominated India in terms of rules and regulations that we created. So, when we use the word regulatory effectiveness, see, the objective of regulation is fair competition in the market, proper contract enforcement, stopping market failure by so 1, 2, 3. So stopping market failure by assuring rule-based system and institutionalizing decision making. When you stop market failure, how do you do that? You create a rule based system. सारी चीजें एक कानून के हिसाब से होंगी, एक प्रोसेस के तहत होंगी. There will be a rule for all, there will be a law for everything, and there will be a process designed for everything. There will be institutions set up, like there will be regulatory bodies like Telecom Regulatory Authority of India or Competition Commission of India and so on, or Insurance Regulatory Development Agency. So there will be SEBI, for that matter, Securities Exchange Board of India. So there will be regulatory bodies which will then be set up, which will make the rules and regulations, based on which, that is the institutionalizing, based on which all decisions in the market can be taken, and nobody will be under any confusion regarding the process of the system. That this is the process which is followed. So if you have to register today in an insurance market, if you have to register in the stock market, if you have to register in a commodity market, there are set conditions which have been established, and based on those set conditions, the regulations are attached. So that is the objective of regulation, that there should be fair competition in the market. It should not happen that few people should dominate the market. So there should be an umpire. It's like that, So if you ask me in तीनों को layman terms में क्या बोलें, तो हम कह सकते हैं that government acts as an umpire or arbitrator to resolve conflicts. इनका मतलब यही होता है कि अगर conflicts हुए तो एक रूल होना चाहिए, एक रेगुलेशन होना चाहिए, एक जुडिशियरी होगी, एक लेजिस्लेचर होगा, और वो सारे कानून बनाएगा. सो देयर विल बी अ लेजिस्लेचर, देयर विल बी अ जुडिशियरी अंडर सर्टेन रूल्स एंड कंडीशंस. देयर विल बी फेयर कंपटीशन इन द मार्केट. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एनफोर्समेंट विल बी प्रॉपर, दैट इफ यू हैव if you have committed that the particular thing has to be done, then it will not be only left on the moral authority. अगर कोई कानून नहीं है, सोचो कोई रेगुलेटरी बॉडी नहीं है, तो आप अज्यूम कर रहे हो दैट मोरालिटी ऑफ द पीपल इज द रेगुलेटरी बॉडी. You know that you are assuming that people, driven by their good morality, will take right decisions and will fulfill their obligations, and all contracts will go properly in the market. But that's not necessarily true. People can cheat upon each other. People can give substandard quality. People may not fulfill the promises they have made. And for that, you need contract enforcement. So that is again an objective of regulation. And stopping market failure by assuring rule-based system and institutionalizing decision making is again important. You know, stopping market failure by assuring rule-based system. What is market failure here? Monopoly in the market, competition can be thwarted, that's a market failure. You know कि मार्केट में क्या होगा, कोई बहुत स्ट्रांग हो गए, उन्होंने अपना दबदबा इतना बना लिया कि वो बाकियों को एक्सप्लॉइट करने लगे. Now that can lead to market failure, that if one of the individuals becomes very strong or one set of people become very strong, they start dominating the market and then manipulating the market by setting their own price, choosing their own quantity and so on. So that again is a thing that you would like to stop. So that is why stopping market failure by assuring rule-based system. And who will create this rule-based system? The government as the authority or the arbitrator. And institutionalizing decision making. That is making sure that decisions are taken on the ground through a rule, through institutions which are regulatory bodies. Decisions are taken on the ground through rules and through institutions which will be reflected by regulatory bodies. So this is the objective of having a regulatory system. All right. This is the objective of having a regulatory system and the benefits that they can create. But then what can happen is that if regulatory system becomes too complex, if regulatory system becomes too complex, and administrative mechanism is weak, then regulatory failure over presence of government and delays in decision making lead to compromise of efficiency. So all these things can happen with that. That regulatory failure and so on will lead to compromise in decision making. No, Geo did not manipulate it, Krishna. Geo did not manipulate. You didn't miss much, Abhishek, don't worry. Good morning all of you who joined me now. Amrapali, Abhishek, good morning. Shubham. Oh, perfect, Shubham. Good morning, Lokesh. So let's see this. You didn't miss much, Abhishek, don't worry. So when you look at this is the problem that we see, that sometimes your rules become so complex that because, no matter how much you regulate, you will have to give some discretionary power in the hands of the decision maker. And this is the theme of this chapter of the survey. In fact, this chapter is a good chapter written with respect to even some answers that you can write regarding reforms and liberalization needed in Indian system. If you ask me, it's a decent chapter regarding reforms and liberalization needed in Indian system. You know, so that can be used in those answers on India after 1991. Now the survey begins by saying, that it is often said, that India's regulation is weak. The survey begins by saying that it is often said that India's regulation is weak. But that is not true. What is actually weak is not India's regulation, but effectiveness of implementing those regulations. And then they use the ease of doing business index of World Bank, and they also use the regulatory standard and regulatory enforcement index that is promoted or ranking of the countries. And they say that in terms of regulatory standards and administrative rules, India ranks still quite high. In terms of regulatory standards and rules, India ranks quite high. But when it comes to implementation of those rules, India's rank goes down because of the complexities that the rules have created and poor system of administration. That is the first 2-3 pages they keep telling you regarding that. So they say that when it comes to the problem, they say that problem is not in types or of rules or regulatory institutions. They say we have several types of rules and several regulatory institutions. So that is not the problem. There are good standards of regulatory administration. So the standard of administration, the standard with respect to enforcement, that is due process respected in administrative proceedings. So regulatory administration with respect to respect and acceptance of due process. The problem is not here. This is fine. Is not in types of rules or regulatory institution. There are good standards of regulatory administration with respect to respect and acceptance of due process. The problem is in implementation of these rules, enforcement of these regulations. So the survey says that the problem actually comes, by undue delays, complex regulations, rent seeking, and quality of regulation. All right, that India ranks better than others when it comes to place and compliance to process. The real issue is, I'm just extending the discussion. What is the real issue in India's regulatory process? So the problem is not that we don't respect the rules or we don't have the rules. We have the rules, we have the administrative mechanism. In fact, in ranks on due process is respected in administrative proceeding, India is ranked 45th, among around 127 countries. We are ranked there. But the problem comes in when it comes to the enforcement of this process of law. So the survey suggests that the real issue is the effectiveness of regulation. So the real issue is lack of effectiveness of regulation. The real issue is lack of effectiveness of regulation caused by undue delays. Now, why do they happen? We will discuss that. But caused by undue delays, complex regulations, the rules sometimes become so complex that even people implementing them do not have the exact idea that what is the rule book suggesting. You know, there's so many rules created, so much of complexity done, that even people implementing it do not sometimes have the idea of what is exactly being expected. You know, rent seeking is bribery. When rules are complex, people then definitely assert on rent seeking. So rent seeking and quality of regulatory implementation. Now, from your exams point of view, this is a very good line with respect to what is the real issue of regulation in India. The problem is not in regulatory standards. We have several standards set already. The problem is not in lack of administrative mechanism. We have several administrative bodies for that. You know, तो हर चीज के लिए नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल है, ठीक है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट एंड फॉरेस्ट है, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट राइट के लिए इंस्टीट्यूशन है, विमेन डेवलपमेंट राइट, चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट राइट, हर चीज के लिए इंस्टीट्यूशन है, कॉम्पिटिशन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया है, इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड बैंकरप्सी बोर्ड है, डेट रिकवरी ट्रिब्यूनल है, तो हर चीज के लिए एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है. सो द प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट इन हैविंग एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव बॉडीज, द प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट हैविंग इनफ रूल्स, द प्रॉब्लम इज that we have lack of effectiveness of regulation, and that is caused by undue delays. There is too much of delay in decision making, too much complexity in regulation, several rules, several regulations sometimes which are contradictory to each other. The problem is in rent seeking, bribery that people ask for, and the quality of regulatory implementation. That sometimes the qualitative aspect, good regulation, is what goes missing. And that is where we start getting beaten. You know, other countries have these factors much better. So even though our rules and regulations match the other better off countries, when it comes to implementation of those rules and regulations, we are unfortunately not matching it well. Then they say, take for example, ease of doing business. In ease of doing business, when it comes to the overall ranking, India is ranked 63rd. But when it comes to ease of getting construction permits, we are ranked 154 among 181 countries. When it comes to ease of starting a business, we are ranked 137 among 181 countries. So if you don't let people start a business, if you don't give them easy construction permits, then it is very difficult that you will have manufacturing or factory growth or even other business growth in the country. So this is an example they give you, that you can reduce your regulations at some places, your macro rank, overall rank can become higher. तो देख के लगेगा कि 142 से 63 आ गई इंडिया, जो हम बार बार सुनते भी हैं, that rank of India has improved in ease of doing business. We have moved from 142nd in the ranking to 63rd. Yes, we have, but we have not taken care of certain important aspects, like how do you approach starting a business? How do you approach construction permits? If these are not given facilitation, and if you don't easily allow them to happen, then no matter how easy you make it to do business in India, you will not have people who will be able to come and do business in India. So 2 examples survey gives us on this part. They say 2 examples of poor implementation. First, high rank in ease of doing business index of World Bank, (63rd) is where we are, but poor ranking on starting a business, and there we are 137th, and construction permits. You know? So, and these are handy examples to have. These are handy examples to have. Is the aspect that they talk about. You know, that construction permits, it is 154. This is 136th. So this is, if you see, overall, this is one example. And second example they give us is very complex exit rules. So a company with no dispute, still takes 1,570 days in India to close. That is the level of exit rules we have, and that's quite difficult when it comes. Think, if there is no dispute, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई परेशानी नहीं, बस परमिशंस लेने में इतना टाइम लग जाता है कि 4.5 साल लग जाएंगे कंपनी को बंद होने में. 4.5 years it will take a company to close down. Imagine if there are disputes involved, it will mean it can go up to 8 to 10 years. So exit laws being very poor in spite of having an insolvency and bankruptcy code and being implemented. But there are so many complexities in the rules and regulations that it makes it so difficult to close down a company in India. They say that the same thing in Singapore is 1 year. In Germany, it's 2 years. So even with disputes, companies take 1 year, 2 year to close down in better jurisdiction aspects. But in India, it takes 5 years, 4 years, 4.5 years to close down if you have no dispute, no problems anywhere. And this is a good example that they give us. And they say that, that is where India compares quite incorrectly with the other countries. Then starting page 184, they start discussing the reasons and then give the solution for it. So they say that most important is you cannot have a foolproof rule. ये नहीं कर सकते कि सारे रूल्स सारी चीजें कवर कर लें, So they give it a name. They say inevitability in incomplete regulation. They say you cannot make a regulation which covers all ends up. And if you try making that regulation, you will stifle business. आप ऐसा कानून नहीं बना सकते जो सारे पॉसिबल परेशानियों को कवर कर ले, और अगर ऐसी कोशिश करोगे ज्यादा तो अपने बिजनेस को ग्रो करने से रोकोगे. क्योंकि सोचो आप क्या करोगे अगर ये हो गया तो, अगर वो हो गया तो. जैसे हिंदू में आर्टिकल्स आते हैं, that if that happens, but point is you can't predict all that can happen. So you may try covering as much as possible, but you will still have to leave some discretion in the hands of the decision maker and give them the courage to implement that discretion while implementing their regulatory authority. When we say inevitability of incomplete regulation, see, the survey says you will have to give some discretionary power in the hands of people who implement the rule. You will have to give some discretionary power in the hands of the people who make these rules and who implement it. You will have to give confidence to the people who implement the rules that they can use their discretion, or discretion matlab using their own methods, using their own judgment to take a call. All right, so you will have to give confidence to people that you can use your discretion and then implement the law, and you will not be penalized for using your discretion. That is what the survey is contemplating. Then they say that there will be inevitability of incomplete regulation. Inevitability का मतलब जो नहीं रोका जा सकता. Inevitable means which cannot be stopped. Thanos was inevitable, but anyways. So inevitable means which cannot be stopped. Incomplete regulation means regulatory system, can never cover for all possibilities. Incomplete regulation means you can never have a foolproof law. You can never have that. A foolproof law is not possible. A foolproof regulatory mechanism is not possible. That is the inevitability of incomplete regulation. So survey is saying no matter how much ठीक है तनिष्क, no matter how much, okay, Viswas, maybe we can do that. But she is a tough economist to deal with. So you never know what comments she will have on, our judgments that we make. But you will get two sides of the view, no doubt, even larger sides of the view. Okay, let us see. So when we say inevitability of incomplete regulation, what it implies is you are talking about the factor that you can never make a rule which will cover all possibilities that may happen or by which the rule can be manipulated. You can never make a rule by which you can cover all possibilities by which the rules can be manipulated. And then they give reasons for it. One, they take Herbert Simon's pronouncement. Herbert Simon एक Nobel winning economist थे, 2002 में उन्हें Nobel Prize मिला था. So 2001 में rather, Herbert Simon said, humans are boundedly rational, but on the fringe there is always unknown unknowns. When you say humans are boundedly rational, what it means is that rationality of human beings, the thought process of human beings is bounded by their knowledge. So humans are boundedly rational. The thought process of human beings is bounded or restricted by their knowledge. So whatever is the knowledge, whatever is the expectation that they frame will be based on the current knowledge set that they have. Whatever expectation they frame will be based on current knowledge set that they have. So if you want humans to do better, you will have to either unbound their knowledge, which is not possible, or you will have to live with regulations which cannot cover all possibilities. Because there is a fringe possibility of unknown unknowns. Fringe मतलब on the border. किसके border पे? Thoughts के border पे. जो बातें हमारे सोच के horizon पे हैं, जिन्हें हम जानते भी नहीं कि हम क्या नहीं जानते. We don't even know what we don't know. Like 2 years back, we did not know, nobody knew that there will be something like a COVID affecting us 1 year later. So that is the boundedness that you live with. Unknown unknowns. You don't even know what can be not known. The second is, when it comes here, they say difficulty in specifying all the processes. Difficulty in specifying all the processes. That is again a problem. Difficulty in, the second point, difficulty in specifying all processes for all parties. Difficulty in specifying all processes for all parties in all situations. The point to be made here is, this is again Oliver Hart, another Nobel winning economist who had said this, that you cannot specifically predict for everyone all the situations. You can predict some situations, you can predict some possibilities, and you can try covering for that, but you cannot cover for all possibilities in all situations for all the people. And that is why, again, you will have to live with situations which can be unforeseen, or criteria which you will not be knowing. The criteria which you will not be knowing about. And then they say 1 and 2 make sure that you have third. That is, later on, a third party will be able to find all that went wrong ex post, which is difficult to predict ex ante. बाद में एक इंक्वायरी कमीशन बिठा दो, एक स्टडी कमीशन बिठा दो, 2 साल बाद, 1 साल बाद, 6 महीने बाद, 10 साल बाद, 50 साल बाद, people can always find what went wrong and how things could have been done better. But at that point of time, it is very difficult to find out what exactly went wrong. At that point of time, it is very difficult to find out what exactly went wrong. So this is the challenge that we face. This is the challenge that we face when it comes to inevitability of regulatory system not being complete. आपके रेगुलेटरी सिस्टम कितने भी स्ट्रांग बनाने की कोशिश कर लो, वो कभी भी कंप्लीटली कवर नहीं कर पाएगा सारे पॉसिबिलिटीज को. इंडिया ने यही गलती कोशिश की, और ये बहुत सारे देश करते हैं ये गलती. Many countries do this mistake. We make a new rule after we have observed a new problem, but then that is like solving the past year papers. If you only solve the past year papers, how will you know how to attempt questions which are new to you? तो सिर्फ पास्ट ईयर सॉल्व करके प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं होगी. तो वही चीज है, जो प्रॉब्लम अराइज हुआ उसके बेसिस पे हमने 2 कानून और बना दिए. Seeing a problem and then making 2 more rules for that. But the problem is the future may not give you the same problem. Like we had a problem of oxygen cylinders this time, or people not getting ventilators or beds on time this time. Well, next time there can be some other issue that the COVID can create. And we will have to be prepared for that. There can be some new type of disease that can erupt It may not be COVID, it can be something else. So the healthcare system has to be made robust. You cannot only work on just making people go up to what has been missing now. That is saliency bias. वही saliency, SALIENCY, पिछली बार आपको बता रहा था ये चैप्टर 5 पढ़ाते हुए, that is saliency bias. आज दिखा, इसको जल्दी कंट्रोल करो, ठीक है, बट इसके आगे भी चीजें हो सकती हैं, उन्हें भी कंट्रोल करना जरूरी है. So this is where we need to be careful that when it comes to making policies, regulations can never give you a complete result. In fact, the survey says that the evidence supports that the more you try over-regulating, more increase is seen in discretion practiced by people. जितने ज्यादा कानून बनाओगे, जितना ज्यादा रेगुलेशन लगाओगे, उतना डिस्क्रिशन को बढ़ावा दोगे, क्योंकि कानून के फिर अलग अलग इंटरप्रिटेशंस होंगे. And then the government authority sitting can interpret the law in their own way and then implement it in whatever way they would like to. Look at the lockdown implemented right now. Different states have said complete lockdown, but the level of lockdown is different depending on how the state administration is running it. तो कुछ स्टेट्स में लॉकडाउन अनाउंस्ड है, लेकिन गाड़ियां बड़े आराम से चल रही हैं, पुलिस वाले नहीं रोक रहे. उत्तर प्रदेश इज वन ऑफ दैट. एटलीस्ट इन नोएडा आई सी इट वेरी ऑफन दैट पीपल आर ड्राइविंग अवे, गोइंग आउट, एंड पुलिसमैन आर नॉट आस्किंग यू एनीथिंग. Delhi is a little more strict but not very strict. Some other state can be more than that strict, and so on. So but the shops are forced to be closed. तो ये अलग अलग ये डिस्क्रिशन आ गया कि आपने कहने को रूल्स बनाए, खूब सारे कानून बना दिए, अब लोग अपने अपने डिस्क्रिशन यूज करने लगे उसमें. सरकार ने पिछले साल लॉकडाउन अनाउंस किया था, स्टेट्स ने बॉर्डर्स ही बंद कर दिए थे. Government had announced lockdown, states had started closing borders to each other. Again, discretion and individual states. So one state would close the border, other would keep it open. That is more discretion due to complexity of regulation. More discretion due to complexity of regulation. Yeah, right, Ashutosh. So if you look at it, and they give you examples of World Bank's enterprise level surveys of India, that construction permits become more discretionary the more regulation you bring into them. जितना ज्यादा आप कानून लाते हो, उतनी ज्यादा डिस्क्रिशनरी सिस्टम बढ़ती जाती है कंस्ट्रक्शन परमिट्स में. कैसे पता किया उन्होंने? सुनना ये ध्यान से. So survey suggests more regulation leads to more discretion, not less. And they give an example of World Bank study on construction permits given in India. They cite that increase in rules and number of regulations to provide construction permits led to more variation, and I will explain this to you, more variation in time taken by different people getting it. This is the interesting factor. Why variation? Those who are closer to the government, those who can influence the decision makers, got it done quickly. And those who were further away from the government, those who could not influence the decision makers, could not get it done quickly. So variation in time taken to get the permit became larger because of more rules and regulations being introduced. तो जितने आप कानून बनाते हो, उतना ज्यादा डिस्क्रिशन बढ़ा देते हो। तो जो जो ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हैं डिसीजन मेकर्स को, उनको जल्दी परमिट मिल जाता था, और जो नहीं कर सकते इन्फ्लुएंस, उनको देर से परमिट मिलता था। तो फ्लक्चुएशन बढ़ गई, किसी को 20 दिन 25 दिन लग रहे हैं, किसी को 2 दिन में मिल जा रहा है, you know, and that means again more discretion used rather than less discretion used. So this is one evidence they use in suggesting the point. Similarly, they give you other example of labor laws, that multiplicity of labor laws lead to less delivery of justice for labor than more delivery. You know, they quote study by Kanber and Ronconi in the cross-country study, and they say stringency of labor laws leads to negative correlation with their enforcement. You know, that's another example they give, that multiplicity of labor laws doesn't result in protecting more laborers, it rather results in poor enforcement of those laws, because there is more discretion involved in again implementing those laws. Another example they give us is of the Dodd-Frank Act. They say Dodd-Frank Act was implemented after 2008 global financial crisis, and it mandated 390 new rules. You know, Dodd-Frank Act, all this is on page 186 Economic Survey. They give you another example of Dodd-Frank Act, and they say 390 new rules were implemented. Again, assuming then that fluctuations will be reduced and complexity risk will be reduced, will be not there. Rather, it became opposite. You know, it allowed more discretions to the decision makers, and there was a complexity risk as a term coined after Dodd-Frank Act, कि इतना complex है सारा rule कि उसके वजह से ही risk है investment करने में, कि कौन सा कानून क्या कह रहा है ठीक से पता ही नहीं. So the moral of the story then is that the more stringent you try regulations, more discretion comes in, and more are the chances of rent seeking and complexities in the rules, you know. So more is then rent seeking, more delays in decision making, and so on. So what is the moral of this whole story that we are studying then? More stringent rules lead to more discretionary power, and therefore increases rent seeking, delays decision making, and adds to inefficiency. And I repeat, they give you 3 examples. One example is of the construction permits, a study by World Bank. Second study by Canberra cross country on labor laws, and third again a study on post 2008 Dodd-Frank Act, which resulted in more rules and resulted in more discretionary system. So now, why do then people go for this regulatory default? क्यों फिर ऐसा होता है कि सरकार ज्यादा रेगुलेशंस के लिए चले जाते हैं rather than making a balance between regulation and discretion? You know, why do they do that? They do that because regulations, rules are measurable. कोई आपको दोष नहीं देता, आप कह सकते हो देखो कानून तो बना दिया था मैंने. But discretion, taking an objective decision, is not measurable. You have to supervise. आपको जाना पड़ेगा साइट पर, आपको मिलना पड़ेगा लोगों से, आपको टाइमली विजिट्स करने पड़ेंगे, आपको डे टू डे मॉनिटरिंग करनी पड़ेगी. और ये क्वालिफाइड चीजें हैं, इससे आपकी क्वालिटी अच्छी होती है गवर्नेंस की, लेकिन क्वांटिफाइबल नहीं है. यू नो, दिस इज क्वालिफाइबल बट नॉट क्वांटिफाइबल. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दैट. सो नाउ द टारगेट हैज टू बी अचीव्ड. So how do you achieve the target? By focusing more on what can be quantified. You know, by suggesting to the people, look, I worked hard. आप सोचो अभी हमारे सरकार ने क्या किया? Vaccines allowed for everybody above 18 years of age. You know, vaccines allowed where states can also procure. But vaccines हैं कहाँ? And since vaccines are not there, so what has already started in India? Black marketing of vaccine. And then I laugh, I'm honestly telling you, I laugh when I see people saying, oh, everything should be done by the government. If government mechanism is there, then poors will be helped better. No, sir. Even in government mechanism, corruption is there. Then you can have a report and you can tell me that, sir, give us a proof, and I don't have it. But I'm just telling you by the experience of Indian system that I have. You can have reports saying that, oh, in Haryana, 6,000 vials of vaccine was lost. No, it is very much possible that 6,000 vials of vaccine was sent to the black market, where people are paying more and getting themselves vaccinated. Influential people are getting vaccinated. You know? This is what happens in our country, because the government administrative mechanism is not very transparent, is very opaque, and is under the clutches of people who are rich and influential. So even if you say government को करने दो, तो government को influence कर देंगे जो rich हैं वो, और वही करते हैं वो. You know, so you have to understand that. Hence, transparency is the key. But again, we are saying let government do it. Let government do it. Imagine when people, already news has started coming in that full dose of vaccine is not given to people, and those vials are saved and saved for the black market. And the black market rates can be 3 times, 4 times than the normal market rate. So this is not a good situation for the poor anyways then. So you can make n number of rules. You can हर जगह पे एक पुलिस कांस्टेबल बिठा दो. उससे वह फायदा नहीं है जब तक कि आपने उस कांस्टेबल के साथ ट्रांसपेरेंसी सिस्टम नहीं बनाया. You know, so authoritarian governance cannot solve the problem. The problem is solved only when your rules are transparent and when you have educated your people to follow those rules. So one has to be careful on that account again. Yes, Harita, you are right. It's possible always. Rent seeking is bribery, Muskan. Bribery. Another name for bribery is rent seeking, Muskan. You know, घूस वूस लेते हैं जो लोग, ब्राइब लेते हैं, पैसे लेते हैं, you know, उसको रेंट सीकिंग. हिंदी में भी एक बड़ा अच्छा वर्ड है ब्राइबरी का, उत्कोच. You know, तो मुझे बड़ा मजा आता था ये शब्द सुनकर. मैं हमेशा बोलता था उत्कोच ले रहे हैं लोग, तो लेने वाले को भी नहीं समझ में आता था कि उसी को बोल रहा हूँ कि तुम उत्कोच में क्या मतलब होता है. अब डिक्शनरी जाके देखा होगा तो अलग बात है, लेकिन उत्कोच, छोटी यू, आधा त, क में ओकार और च. Utkoch is a word in Hindi. Rent seeking is the euphemism in English. So we use euphemism for bribery, rent seeking and so on. But effectively it's bribery. Okay, let's see this then. So this is where the aspect comes. Still, I repeat, still more regulation is what people go for. Because regulation is what people go for, because regulation is quantified, but supervision is qualified. So remember, the conclusion is, or of this part, इस part का मतलब ये है, there should be a balance. There should be a balance between regulation and supervision, where you don't need to make a rule, but your authority can supervise regulation and supervision. But regulation is preferred because it is quantifiable and supervision is a better tool but it is qualitative in nature. So what is quantifiable, we go for it. You know, जिसकी क्वांटिटी समझ में आ जाती है हम उसके लिए चले जाते हैं. जिसकी क्वालिटी अच्छी होगी उसके लिए नहीं जाते कि जिससे क्वालिटी अच्छी हो जाए. इससे नुकसान क्या होता है ये आगे इकोनॉमिक सर्वे बताते हैं हमें. So they say this creates the perverse incentive of just creating top-down regulation. This creates a perverse incentive of just creating top-down regulation. And then they say the problem of this system are several. One which we have discussed also to a great extent, that more regulation is added over time regardless of the effectiveness. Just to make sure that nobody blames me, new rules keep getting created. So more regulation. So due to this, ये होने के वजह से, इसके nature के वजह से, since people think regulation is quantifiable and I will be respected for regulation, and supervision may not be quantified or will not be quantified. So what happens is, result of regulation bias or results of regulation bias: 1, more regulations are introduced irrespective of their effectiveness. More regulations are introduced irrespective of their effectiveness. So that is the problem one that we see. That there can be too much of regulation. Like one thing that the Legal Advisory Council, the Commerce Ministry's report is quoted in Economic Survey, where they say that to stop round tripping, of currency, कि आपकी currency को कोई वापस इलीगल चैनल से देश में ना ला सके, अगर आप बहुत स्ट्रिंजेंट रूल बनाओगे तो इन्वेस्टमेंट को ही डिस्करेज कर दोगे. If you try controlling round tripping by all methods, then you will have to stop investment in your country. Now you can't do that. So you will have to make sure that you supervise the money coming in and not create a rule or a regulation for everything that you are doing. You supervise, but do not try impinging upon it. So make a transparent financial system, and make a system where the wrong deals can be caught sooner. But if you make too much of a stringent system, you will discourage investors from coming into your system. That is the example they give you, that more regulation will lead to, over time, be introduced and reduce effectiveness. So this results in reduced transparency and negatively affects efficiency in the system. Negatively affects efficiency in the system. So that is your problem one, that the result of regulation bias, if you look at it, the problem one is, this is what you see in hand for yourself. ये नजर आता है आपको कि आपके अगर बहुत stringent कानून बनाओगे तो रेगुलेशन एक के बाद एक ऐड करते जाओ, हालत ये हो जाएगी कि कानून implementable ही नहीं रहा. Confusion बढ़ा दिया आपने. Land Acquisition Act in India is another such rule, where there is so much of stringency today that you are prohibiting the corporates and the big land pool holders from buying fresh land. So transactions get stopped, and that is where again you need to make a balance there. FCRA 2020 is another such rule, no doubt about that. No doubt. I agree with you on that, Bhavesh. Okay. Now, second is, discretion maybe is not provided or exercised even when there is a case to do so. That is the second thing, that regulation bias, the second result is that. So the second result is, these are all results of regulation bias. Over regulation के result क्या है? Discretion is not allowed even when it is desired. And the example they give is of government procurement. The example they give is of government procurement. They say that, look at this government procurement mechanism. Government procurement means how government buys from the market. Government procurement means how government buys from the market. So this says that no matter how the government procures, when it comes to government procurement, the example they give is, and again I repeat, government procurement is how government, say public sector buying from the market. They say normally L1 method, that is buying from least cost supplier, is used. जिसने टेंडर में सबसे कम पैसे भरे उससे खरीद लिए. The one who puts least money in the tender, buying from that least cost supplier. So normally that is done. That buying from least cost supplier, that is used for tendering. All right, buying from least cost supplier, that is used for tendering. But there are several committee reports which suggest that qualitative aspects like, qualitative aspects which are discretionary in nature again, like timely delivery, better quality, better after sales service, etc. These should also be considered, and a committee can be formed within the system which can look into these things and then take a call, not only based on L1. So there can be several places where this can be done, but again the people fear that if they take a decision on these, they may be later on hounded by the 4 C's, as the Economic Survey 1718 had said, CVC, CAG, CID, CBI. So they said that these 4 C's people are worried about, and they don't take any discretionary call. But ideally, for many decisions, discretion is needed. You have to trust your officers. You have to believe that they will take honest calls and they will take decisions for the betterment of the country because you have chosen them. So you can't always mistrust them, because those who are corrupt will find a method in this also. But again, due to rule, people can at least stand by a rule and say, look, I was just following procedure. That is what has to be encouraged, that people should be encouraged to take their own discretions. Another example can be during disinvestment. Normally we go by disinvestment through market route, but there should be disinvestment in sectors like BPCL, sectors like Air India. The disinvestment should be by finding one buyer and strategically negotiating it with that one buyer. That's called the method of strategic sale. अब ये स्ट्रेटेजिक सेल करना इंडिया ने बंद कर दिया 2003 के बाद, क्योंकि इसमें करप्शन की बात उठती है. कह रहे आपने तो सस्ता पे बेच दिया, आप तो इसको महंगा और ज्यादा प्राइस पे बेच सकते थे. ये गड़बड़ बात है, ये नहीं होनी चाहिए, ऐसी बातें नहीं आनी चाहिए. अगेन, that is where our third point will come. But discretion is required in all decision making. When I'm teaching you today, I'm using my discretion of how to treat this chapter in Economic Survey. If you take away that discretion from me and tell me all teachers should teach in the same way, then you will push all of us to an average where the good becomes the average and the bad may become an average, but the bad will pull itself towards the good. Not a good idea. So variation in decision making, discretion in decision making should be encouraged, but that has been discouraged in our system to a great extent. Then, the third thing they say that happens, the third thing is that criticism in hindsight is always possible. Discretion is questioned with benefit of hindsight. That is, जो मैं आपको बता रहा था, ex post, जब इवेंट्स हो गए तब ये बोलना शुरू किया कि अरे अगर मैं देखा होता या मैंने किया होता तो ये ज्यादा अच्छी बात हो सकती थी. That's a wrong call. Discretion can always be questioned in hindsight, because no decision can be perfect 100% correct decision. Some decisions can go right, some decisions can go wrong, sometimes things can be beyond your control, certain changes may happen which you may not have thought will happen in a particular manner. But if you start questioning people for everything, Yes, auction theory can be used, Amit, but that again can be in some places. Not everywhere you can auction. In some places you can go and strategically discuss with the best partner. So a combination of all should be used. Use an IPO, use auctioning, use strategic sale, whichever is suited should be used. And that is what the survey is asking us to think about. Again, when direction is questioned with benefit of hindsight, it starts discouraging decision makers from taking any decision for the fear of being caught wrong. So when discretion is questioned in hindsight, like you launch an initial public offer for a government company. आप एक सरकारी कंपनी के शेयर्स लॉन्च करते हो, इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफर आपने कुछ प्राइस फिक्स किया, आपने 100 रुपए प्राइस फिक्स किया. अब मान लो वो ओवर सब्सक्राइब हो गया, ज्यादा लोगों ने सब्सक्राइब किया, तब लोग कहने लगते हैं अरे 100 ही रुपए फिक्स किया, कम से कम 200 करना चाहिए था, तब जाके इसके पैसे आते, ये तो अंडर वैल्यूएशन कर दी कंपनी की. बट मार्केट में लॉन्च करने से पहले किसी को नहीं पता कि कितना प्राइस फिक्स करना चाहिए. So when you fix a price, and if people start questioning, oh, you have underpriced it, then what is the next option? Fix the highest possible you think, and then nobody will come to buy it, and then people will say, oh look, such a high price fixed, nobody bought it. Spectrum sale में यही किया था हमने. When it came to 700 megahertz spectrum, we priced it at 54,000 crore and nobody bought 700 megahertz spectrum, while 700 megahertz is the best spectrum for 4G trending. तो 4G फोन के लिए बेस्ट स्पेक्ट्रम है 700 मेगाहर्ट्ज स्पेक्ट्रम, लेकिन जब सरकार 2018 में लाई स्पेक्ट्रम सेल, इतना महंगा उसको प्राइस किया कि कोई नहीं आया उसे खरीदने. Why did the government officers do it? Because they were once bitten, twice shy with the 2G scam. उनको लगा फिर लोग कहेंगे 4G स्कैम हुआ, कम पैसे पे बेच दिया. So this is where we have to be careful, that when allegations are put, allegations can disturb decision makers and you may not get the right decisions from them thereafter. So discretion can always be questioned in hindsight. Later on one can always say, oh, things have not gone right, but one has to consider what was the situation in which decision was taken to actually remove that bias from the system. Then the other thing they say is, therefore what happens, fourth, government officers then go with the default process. So government departments end up follow default precedent. Just to give you one point here, I missed on that. The third thing, it creates the problem of lack of innovation in government decision making, and that again compromises efficiency. Lack of innovation in government decision making, and that again compromises efficiency. That is what this third problem does. What is this fourth problem? They follow a default precedent. जो सालों से होता आ रहा है वही अपना करते रहते हैं. जैसे a very good example has been given by Economic Survey. They give the example of tax department filing cases on people. They say what the tax department does is, by default they will file a case, by default they will issue a show cause notice, knowing that they will lose the case in the court. The success rate of revenue department in income tax related cases is 0.3% in India. 1000 केस में 3 केस जीतते हैं और 997 केस हारते हैं. Out of 1000 cases, only 3 cases are won by income tax department in India. But if the officer doesn't file a case, then people will suspect the officer of being in cahoot with the SSE. तो अगर ऑफिसर ने केस फाइल नहीं किया तो अरे तुम तो बिले हुए हो उस आदमी से, तुमने पैसा खा लिया है. सो व्हाट डज द ऑफिसर थिंक? नो हार्म, आई विल फाइल द केस. इन एनी केस द डिपार्टमेंट हैज लॉयर्स हु विल फाइट इट एंड लूज इट. एटलीस्ट नोबडी विल क्वेश्चन मी. दैट इज गोइंग बाय द डिफॉल्ट प्रेसिडेंट, कि जो होता आया है वही करते रहते हैं. बट व्हाट डज इट डू? इट रिजल्ट्स इन वेस्टेज ऑफ रिसोर्स, results in wastage of resource and delays in decision making, with higher administrative cost. एडमिनिस्ट्रेट करने का कॉस्ट बढ़ता रहता है, हायर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट. So this is government departments following a default precedent. So this is the problem that happens. So survey highlights these, that if you focus on majorly on regulation and less on discretion, if you don't encourage supervisory tendency and only encourage regulatory tendencies, then you will face the problem first of more regulations will be introduced irrespective of effectiveness, which will result in reduced transparency and negatively affect efficiency. Second, it will result in a discretion not allowed even when it is desired, and the example of government procurement. Third, it will result in questioning discretion in the benefit of hindsight, resulting in poor innovative system, and government decision making will compromise efficiency. And then default precedent is used by the government, leading to wastage of resource, delays in decision making, and higher administrative cost. So these are the problems that you see across when you think about how higher amount of rule system or very high regulatory mechanism, very stringent rules create this problem. Correlated to what I taught you when I was teaching you India before 1991, those of you who can recall, I taught you that in the period of 1970s and 80s in India, too many rules were there, and these too many rules were discouraging the efficient ones from working, creating the problem of adverse selection, where those who were corrupt felt encouraged because they could take the advantage of these many over discretion in the rule created by over regulation, and those who were honest were worried that how will I follow so many rules, you know. So this is what happens, adverse selection happens. जो corrupt है उन्हें लगता है बहुत बढ़िया, इतने कानून बना दिए कि इसी कानून को तोड़ मरोड़ के मैं अपना काम चला लूंगा, और जो honest हैं वो डर के भाग जाते हैं इस सिस्टम से. तो ये आपको overall inefficiency देता है. Then the survey says then how to solve for introducing discretion without making it corrupt or without making it problem with respect to the other extreme, where the government will choose everything discretionary and then they will manipulate and they may take bribes. To solve कैसे करें कि discretion efficiently introduce किया जा सके, you know. So that is what they introduce on page 191. They call it solving for discretion. The idea is to introduce discretion in decision making without compromising on efficiency. You know, how to make a balance that, okay, introduce a discretion, but how to make sure that there is a balance in making this decision without compromising on efficiency. How to make a balance between the two. You know, introduce discretion and then how to make sure that efficiency is not compromised. So how to do that? First thing they suggest is strengthen ex ante accountability. You know, that is the first suggestion they give. They say strengthen ex ante accountability. Decision लेने से पहले जो responsibility लेंगे decision makers, वो strong बनाओ. You know, put more responsibility, you know, on ex ante decision making. You know, so rather than ex post audit, make the government institutions and boards accountable for holding the ex ante decisions that they take. You know, and they cite an example of property rights. They say that while doing this, you know, the law derives from the doctrine of business judgment rule. Assume that people will act in good faith and punish them only if you have sound evidence that they have not acted in good faith. You know, assume that people have acted in good faith and do not assume them to be corrupt unless that is not found otherwise. All right. So this is the whole idea in case of auditing. You know, so it says that improve the quality of decision making by implementing business decision rules on government decision makers. And what is that business decision making rules? That is, all decisions are in good faith unless proven otherwise. The moral of the story is, do not spread a canard. अगर इल्जाम लगा रहे हो तो प्रूफ कर पाओ, अगर प्रूफ नहीं कर पा रहे तो हाउंड मत करो लोगों को. आपने किसी के ऊपर कोई इल्जाम लगा दिया, 10 साल केस चला, वो बरी हो गए, लेकिन उनको जो आपने धक्का दिया उनके सम्मान को, वो कभी लौट कर नहीं आ पाएगा. So that is what they say, that the law should be derived from the business decision rules, the business judgment rules, that the board of director will work, this is the business judgment rule, that the board of director will take decisions with the good faith that for the welfare of shareholders. So similarly, government officers will take decisions for the welfare of the people unless proven otherwise. Now Indian law already goes by that, but unfortunately frivolous lawsuits are the problem. कि जबरदस्ती काफी तरह के केस ठोक दिए जाते हैं और लोग डरते हैं फिर डिसीजन लेने से. That is point one that can be introduced. Then they say the second thing that should be done is that transparency should be brought up in decision making process. So with this one, ये one को अकेले करोगे सिर्फ, तब तो है कि कुछ लोग ब्राइब लेंगे, कुछ लोग जानबूझ के गलत डिसीजन लेंगे. तो वन के ऊपर क्रॉस चेक किस बात का लगाओ? टू का. हाउ टू मेक श्योर दैट वन डजंट रिजल्ट इन ओवर discretion and one doesn't result in making deliberately people taking wrong decision. Introducing transparency in decision making rules. Introducing transparency in the decision making process. What does that imply when you say introducing? It can be done, it's possible. It can be done, Rishikesh. But again, the only thing is that you will again need new methods to do it, and that should again be as discretionary as possible. सरकार मानती नहीं सर्वे की बात, तनिष्क, ये दिक्कत है. So they say that again incorporate transparency in decision making process. That is, balance discretion by making sure that the discretion is done in a very transparent and public manner. Public evaluation is allowed. All right. So, and then they give the example of government e-marketplace. So allow public scrutiny, use geotagging, technological record keeping, comparison of estimated expenditure and actual ये सब मैं अपनी तरफ से ऐड कर रहा हूं, सर्वे नहीं कहती ये बातें, लेकिन ये मैं ऐड कर रहा हूं कि तुम अपने आंसर को बेटर बना सको. Alright, these points I am adding so that you can make your answer better as to how to make things transparent. So these are answers for how to make things transparent. So of estimated expenditure and actual expenditure, etc., to assure better delivery mechanism. Yeah. And survey gives an example of survey gives the example of government electronic market, GEM. Survey says, after introducing government electronic market, it has been observed, after introducing government electronic market, it has been observed that the price has on an average come down for commodities that government was procuring compared to what existed earlier. जेम के इंट्रोड्यूस होने के बाद सरकार के खरीदने वाला प्राइस कम हो गया है क्योंकि अब कंपटीशन ज्यादा है और उन्हें बेटर सप्लाईज मिल रहे हैं कंपेयर टू जो पहले मिलता था. तो ये ट्रांसपेरेंसी लाने का तरीका हो गया कि आप एक बिडिंग का प्रोसेस ले आए, ट्रांसपेरेंट कर दिए सिस्टम को और उससे आपको बेनिफिट्स ज्यादा मिलने लग गए. एंड थर्ड इज build a resilient ex post facto resolution mechanism, that is have a proper rule and implementing body, you know. So that is the third thing that you need to do. And remember, all three together are important: ex ante strength to decision maker, transparency in the system, and ex post mechanism of quick resolution, you know. So third is build a strong ex post resolution mechanism. That is, strengthen your judiciary, strengthen your tribunals, you know. That is efficient legal system followed by efficient implementation of that legal system, you know. Efficient legal system followed by efficient implementation of the legal system. So in this case, what do you need? Quicker resolution of dispute, through efficient judicial mechanism. You know, it will give everybody strength. जो नॉन करप्ट हैं, जो ऑनेस्ट हैं, उन्हें पता है कि अगर कोई झूठा इल्जाम लगाएगा फटाफट रिजोल्यूशन होगा, मैं बरी हो जाऊंगा, मैं इसके लिए मुझे कोई हाउंड नहीं कर सकता. जो करप्ट हैं वो भी डरेंगे कि अगर मैं पकड़ा गया तो बहुत जल्दी पकड़ा जाऊंगा और सजा मिलेगी, फिर वापस नहीं आ सकता. सो यू नो, अ गुड जुडिशियल मैकेनिज्म इज अ वेरी गुड डेटरेंट इन दिस प्रोसेस. इनफैक्ट इकोनॉमिक सर्वे 2018-19 वॉल्यूम 1 चैप्टर 5 was about judicial mechanism to be improved in India. Again, one of the better chapters that one can read in it, and it actually talked about how judicial system can be improved and how we can reduce the caseload and how judiciary can have better dispute resolution, and all that can help in using discretion in rule making. So first they talk about what is the problem that discretion creates, and then they give you the solution. They say introduce ex ante strength in decision making, assure that in your decision making this ex ante strength is followed by transparency in decision making, and then ex post resolution mechanism should be equally strong. So this is a very good chapter for students for both paper 3, that is in your course, and for your paper 2 optional. Both of these can be well covered. If you are writing any answer with respect to how liberalization in India should be done so that we can control corruption without compromising efficiency, and how can we remove delays in decision making. So these points you can take from there and actually write up a very good answer and incorporate in that. In fact, in governance, in administration, there also these part talks come very handy. So this was a discussion on economic survey, chapter 6, volume 1. You know, I will again, then we will, in future classes, we will be discussing further economic chapters on survey. But 6th chapter, I believe, is one of the better written chapters of economic survey, apart from chapter 2 also that I liked, you know, in volume 1. जो अभी तक मैंने आपको chapters पढ़ाए हैं, मुझे chapter 2, chapter 5 और chapter 6, ये तीनों ही well written नजर आए, theoretically at least. You know, they are repetitive, no doubt. जो बात 4 पेज में कही जा सकती थी, उसके लिए 15-20 पेज लगाए हैं. But that's okay. Maybe they have considered IQ of everybody reading it, and then done that. But that is the way it can be. All right, so be here. And that is all on economic survey.